to get them.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Gothtober reading sprints.
Hello.
I'm joined here by Abby and two guests who will be coming and joining us along the way, but we're very excited to have you here for the Gothtober reading sprints. There will be several of these across the month, some on Twitter, some on Hannah's channel, and today we're here. It's the beginning of the month. Do you want to introduce yourself, Abby?
So I am Abi from Abi of Pellinor. I think I'm linked down below in the description. Olivia is very prepared. So if you want to follow me, subscribe or anything, I'm down there. And I usually talk nonsense about similar books that Olivia likes.
Yes, we have a lot of overlap. And today, well, I'm reading a spooky book. Are you reading a spooky book?
Yes, I'm going to be reading a few different ones because I'm reading like bits every day. But the one I'm starting with, it's downstairs. I'm well prepared, lads. Is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, which was in my Waypoint box.
Yes.
So I'm getting through a Waypoint book, and it is Dark Academia, translated from Spanish, set in Argentina, at least at the moment. I think they're in a car, so I don't know how long it will be in Argentina. They could leave the country, I don't know. And it's about this man who can see spirits, essentially, of dead people and also of like ethereal like devils. And his son also has the same power, but he doesn't want his son to be caught up in the world the same way that he has been. And so far there's been LGBTQ plus rep and also disability representation. And of course, the author is translated from Spanish from a Latina author. So there's also Bekka. So nice. Covering the first 3 prompts with just one book, but it is 700 odd pages. So
we love when you multitask, covering all of these prompts all in one. Hello, everyone. Hi, Hannah. Welcome. Welcome. We'd love to know what you're going to be reading for these sprints. Gothtobies. This is new. I haven't heard this. I like this.
That's cute. I like it.
We've all got your fingers crossed that you love it. I can imagine Hannah is definitely waiting for you to love it. And we have our next guest.
Read something worked!
Finally.
This is what I get for running late.
We were having technical difficulties behind the scenes, but Bekka is here with us, visually and audibly. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bekka from the book Sanctum, and I don't really know what else to say apart from I'm about to start reading Catching Fire. So
finally, she's never read it before. It's not a reread; it's the first time read.
First time reading The Hunger Games.
I've been
like the best one now.
I've been nagging her like, tell me everything.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the best one in the series. So I hope you enjoy it.
Well,
and very fitting because everyone's killing each other.
Well, I'm like this far in, so I'm
in. Yeah, you're having a good time.
Oh yeah, I started it yesterday.
That is my favorite one.
Yeah,
because it's just perfection.
Yeah, I'm just going Finnick because I've seen the movie, so I know about Finnick. So I'm just like, I remember that crush as a teenager on you. Coming back.
I do remember when I first read them, I flew through them because they're just so, the writing style is just so fast paced. There's always something happening, just turning the pages.
Oh, definitely. Especially when you get into the arena and then everything just hits the fan and you do not stop.
Yep.
Always
fun. Yep. I'm going to be reading Harrow Lake by Kat Ellis, which I think is just like a standard slasher where a film was directed around this lake, but then when they were filming it, a camera person went missing. And then in the first chapter, it also says the director's daughter goes there and also goes missing. And then we flash back to the past where the daughter is still alive, and I think is going to end up going there and what actually happens. That's what I'm reading.
I've heard of that one. I've heard some good things, I think.
I hope so, because I've read a string of 3- and 2-star books lately. It's been like 2 weeks without a good book. And I'm very tired. I'm ready for good books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I only read a few last month, but 2 of them were good. 1 of them I'm still figuring out. The Secret History, if either of you have read it.
No.
I've read it.
I don't know yet how I feel about it.
Yeah. The ending, it takes time to think about it and be like...
Yeah, and it's like, it's simultaneously good and also no. Just because of like the writing is gorgeous, but the characters are awful human beings. But like to the point where I think every single person in the book, bar like a couple of side characters that we don't know enough about, are awful. And so it's like trying to figure out whether I'm going to have that influence my opinion of the book, or whether I'm just going to appreciate the good writing that had me invested. But like they're problematic as all hell.
Yeah. I haven't read it in a long time, and I don't think I was that attuned to what was... Well, there's some things that are obviously problematic about it, but some of the more finer points that people have mentioned since. It's a tricky one. See what everybody else is reading. I've heard that this one is very cozy and very cute. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Hello.
Look, when I was a teenager, I got caught reading fan fiction for about 10 years, and I didn't pick up a book until I hit uni. So I'm bypassed so many books, and I was just like, oh, fanfic instead, and just didn't read any of my book collection.
And as you can tell, she has that answer prepared, because I had exactly the same response. I think also in the cat box, just with more exclamation marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I horrify people when I say this. My best friend was reading books by like the bucket load, and I was sat there going, yeah, but AO3. Like, have you read this update? The new one's come out. I'm not in that fandom. I don't care. Read it. I was doing this the whole time.
I mean, to be fair, AO3 is a good hole to fall down.
Oh, yeah.
Fall down one.
But my watch later list is about 74 pages long. Yeah. And I was like, oh, whoops. And then my Tumblr likes are just filled with more recommendations lists. And I'm like, oh, I should probably clear this.
Sure, Abby can relate.
Always. So can you. Migraine. Oh.
Take it easy with reading. But Black Butler is a good one to read, like a manga to ease into it. Lots of pictures.
I have chronic migraines. I have since I was a kid. It's been over a decade now. New tip I found, which I'm still figuring out if it works for me or not. I hadn't heard of it before, so maybe helpful. Salt. Apparently, in the US, a lot of the drugs that they use for chronic migraines actually just control how your body absorbs sodium. And so if you increase your sodium intake, i.e. eat salty food, put loads of salt in your food, it can help some people. So I'm sure that K-Beth has tried pretty much everything, but that one was new to me. So,
recommendation.
Along with everything else that you usually do for migraines.
I hope it works if you haven't tried it. Reading the Ravens. I haven't read this one.
I've seen it. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful book. Buried Angels. Very Gothtober-y title. Reminds me of the Angel Round. And an audiobook, The Dead Ground. Worst Witch at All Sea, and then starting Lord Olympus Volume 2. You shouldn't read those short graphic novels, Hannah. Choose one of your longer books to start with, please. Please and thank you. That's it. Don't accept your current reads.
Do what Lizzie's doing.
What is Lizzie doing?
She's starting with
A Day of Fallen
Night. Oh, yes, 300 pages. You're making good progress.
Chunky.
Like that's good progress.
And it was me thinking Queen of Air and Darkness was long.
It's a big book.
I
just took it 100 pages at a time.
I opted out. Series are difficult though. I read the first one, to be fair.
The second one's better, so if for ever, like any random reason you feel like reading it, I think it's much better than Priory. And I gave Priory 5 stars.
So it's a big commitment from a non-series reader, typically.
Yes. Just see it as a standalone. It's like set before the. It's fine. It's just a standalone.
I hope reading for uni goes well. Yes. Yeah, it's not even a reading slump. I can't even complain that I'm not reading. It's just that I'm not reading good things. I hope August is better.
I've read that. I've read Fragile Threads. Sorry. Loved it.
You're in for a good time, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. 5-star read. All I'm saying is the ending. That's all I'm
You
saying.
love Schwab.
I'm Schwab trash. As I always say,
And
I'm
you
Schwab.
know,
And You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight is also a good alternative. Maybe not level of Fragile Threads of Power, but if you are going to pick up something, it's a good one to go to. Taylor Jenkins Reid.
I feel like a title like Long Live the Pumpkin Queen really does give you the ability to like be slightly less gothy with the other book. Like you went full Halloween, so I feel like you get some leeway for the other one.
Isn't Long Live the Pumpkin Queen the spin-off from Nightmare Before Christmas?
I don't know.
I think it is. I think my best friend was talking about it, if I remember rightly. I think it's about Sally, if I remember rightly. Again, brain dead, no idea.
Possibility. It sounds like it could fit title-wise. Devil's Prophet, very Gothtober-esque title. I've recently switched to a higher salt diet and it's helping a little, but I'm still having them a lot more than the doctors are happy with. It's been 20 years. I'm used to it. But higher sodium diets are becoming more common.
Yeah.
It's good.
We got new treatment approved by NICE, which is like the UK, well, mainly just England and Wales, like approval board for the NHS medicine. So now I inject myself once a month. I've also had Botox and all the preventatives and all of the post-migraine ones. You just get used to it.
Fair. It's fair. Don't Fear the Reaper as audiobooks, which you could swap to. You should do that, Hannah.
Also social.
Very social. Reading quietly in a room. That's the best flatmate gathering ever.
I mean, yeah, but just all with the headphones on.
Very futuristic, like quiet. Non-readathon month. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Lizzie doesn't have a choice.
You've intimidated Hannah.
Sorry.
Non-institutionalized believers. Interesting. Could be interesting.
Like, if I didn't have to do an assignment for it, that sounds fascinating. But the second I would have to do an assignment on it, I wouldn't want to read it anymore. This is why I stopped at a master's.
That's fair.
That's why I stopped reading in school, because every single book that we read for school, I just was like, oh, but I'm now going to write an essay on this. I don't care. And I just wanted to read something I didn't have to analyse. So I did.
True.
Says Olivia just sat there with a literature degree.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't do masters though. I was a bit tired of actually writing essays as well. But to be fair, I did like the equivalent of double dissertation for my final year. So I was really done at that point. Because I did the English lit, like a standard dissertation. And then for creative writing, you can write a creative project and then do an essay to go with it. So I did 2 of those.
You're making us look. You're making me. Both of you are making me look bad with my singular degree in creative and professional writing, where I didn't have to write a single essay.
But that's a dream.
In creative and professional writing?
Yeah, all we had to do was write like stories and stuff. We didn't have to analyse it. It was just write things.
I didn't analyse anything either, Bekka. I just wrote about rocks and wind farms.
Yeah, but you had to write essays and stuff. I just had to, like...
I had to email the German government. And the Italian government. That's
Are you
what
sure
mine
you
was.
were doing a degree, or were you just being like a spy and undercover assassin, Abby? Like, that's what I want to
A little bit of both. The Italian was worse because I emailed the German government in German and they responded in English, and I emailed the Italian government in English and they responded in Italian. I know more German than I do Italian. I was just sat there like, I don't know what like extrusion is in Italian.
Google Translate to the rescue.
Well, because it's all like complicated words, so it's like it could mean all of these things. I'm like, no, I need to know what it means in geology.
So this is true. You are correct.
Yes. I remember things.
That's right.
That's a good vibe. That's
Lego. I
I
haven't
forgotten
played with
Lego.
Lego in years.
I just had to put my Lego sets in the loft. They were in the extension. The extension got replastered today, so we had to chuck them in the loft this weekend. I was just like, no, I want to build
You've
stuff.
had house stuff going on for like a year now.
Oh yeah, it started in January with the windows, and then we went to the kitchen, and now we're in the extension.
I don't
Yeah.
envy you.
Moving through.
Yeah, but it's the final big project.
I just want everyone to know that, like,
Hannah, are you trying to make her?
but not a friend.
Like, why?
We don't support. But enjoy what you're reading, because it is Gothtober. And that sounds long, almost as long as A Day of Fallen Night, but in PDF form.
Ooh, geography undergrad. Yeah, as a dissertation, but I'd read your dissertation.
Yeah. It also would fit one of the Gothtober prompts if you got insects, so it matches. Okay, last one before we jump into our first reading sprint. I thought you said you knew more Germans than Italians, as in people, not language. Humble brag.
I mean, it's not even also, I think I know more Italian than I know Germans. So if you want the humble brag, but how is that a brag?
On that note, let's hop into some reading sprints. Shall we read for 40 minutes to get started? And then
It gives me time to get water and my books. So yes.
Okay, see you all in a bit. That's the end of our first reading sprint. Ooh, look who's joined us.
I'm finally here. Hi.
Welcome.
Hey.
Hello.
Do you want to introduce yourself and what you're reading on these sprints?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Caz from Cats and Camera. That's my channel. And I was going to read this. Wait, my camera's over here. I was going to read the other one, but then I accidentally have just read it today, and I've got about this many pages left. So that was kind of why I was late, because I didn't realize how late it was getting. Because I was reading this, and then I was like, I need to get food. So I've decided to pick this one up, The Dark Lady by Carla, for the BIPOC rep prompt thing. So, and it's on my 2023 TBR.
Nice. How is the other ones? That's one that's on my shelf and has been waiting for a little while.
I've absolutely loved it. I've devoured it. You know, the past 2 months I've been really slumpy and it's been so hard to read a book. But I've literally just, when I got home from work, I've just sat and read this book all day. It's just really fun and really nice.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Hello, everyone. It'd be great to hear what you're reading, if you've joined us, or how your reading went in that sprint. Abi, how did it go for you?
It went well. I read about 30 pages, which isn't a huge amount, but I did also get my water, get the books from downstairs, and dry the dishes. So I'm taking it as a win. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm about 140 pages into it now. And we're told in the synopsis that the father dies, and 140 pages in, the father is still alive. So I'm very curious. Yeah, it's especially with the size of it, it's should this not have been 2? But I'm interested regardless. And I'm only reading up to page 150 because I'm buddy reading it with Eleanor. And so we're reading 50 pages each day. So yeah, when we start the next sprint, I read 10 more pages. That Eleanor, yes. I'll read 10 more pages and then I'll have to message Eleanor and tell her what I think. And then I'll be on to the next book.
Nice. I hope it gets to the part of the story where it's past what you already know soon.
I think it's gonna be a while away. I don't know exactly how far, but this book doesn't have chapters, but it has sections with dates on. And so this is January 1981. And so Eleanor, don't listen for 10 seconds if you care, but I was too curious and I went and looked, and he's still alive at the end of the January section, which is here. So I think he's going to be alive.
We've got time. How did reading go for you, Bekka?
I managed to read 59 pages and I'm still really enjoying this. I've just gotten to I started where Peter's just announced that Katniss is pregnant, and I've just gone to the bit where the fog has just come in the games itself, and she's just started blistering. I was like, oh, here we go. I remember these bits.
It's all flashing back. I hope it continues to be good.
I just hit myself in the face with that. Luckily, it was just that bit, but.
Oh, I don't even know if you guys saw, but during the sprint, I freaked out a little bit. I massively jumped because I turned the page and it was the end of the page said jitterbugs. So it was talking about jitterbugs. And this book is from someone's unhaul. I think it's from Chloe's unhaul. And I turned the page and something scuttled down the book and fell on my lap. And I jumped majorly and knocked my laptop, but it was literally just, I don't know, dust.
I saw the laptop knock. I didn't see what caused it.
I was I just scared myself from reading a horror book. But I read 50 pages of Harrow Lake, and it's good. It's one of those ones that's a slow build, but it's doing a very good job of keeping the creepiness and the twistedness of the relationships as it's going along. But I'm still near the beginning, basically. But yeah, that's how it's going. Oh, lots of people are here reading with us. Hannah's not reading. That's okay. I also did this and watched all of the Gothtober videos. I think I've got 2 more TBRs to watch. But if you haven't posted your TBR, it's not too late, and feel free to tag us because we will come and check it out. 9% of the Ravens. You read 3 chapters of Dragon Ball Z. Tokyo Ghoul!
I love that one.
Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre is also good. It's true. Very gothic.
I loved Jane Eyre when I was a kid. I read like an abridged version. I've read the full one since. Don't get mad at me. I've read the full one, but I read an abridged version as a kid. It's beautiful.
I won't get mad. I've never read Jane Eyre.
Neither have I.
I'm not a classic still person. I've never read any Bronte books.
Not even like monster classics or like horror-y classics?
Potentially I'd enjoy them, but it's just not something I lean towards. Like modern classics I have, like I've read George Orwell and I've read A Clockwork Orange. But yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's still very much a classic, but I enjoyed Dracula a lot more than I'd expected to.
Yes.
And this is from someone who reads a fair amount of classics. Like, literally, me and Olivia have a thing where it's on hiatus currently, but we read big classics together. Like, I read a lot of classics, and like, yeah, it definitely is one, but it's actually quite good. Like,
Right.
I reckon. Not to Bekka, because she just hates every classic.
I
But if you're
think I've read the graphic novel version of Dracula.
That is a good alternative.
I've watched the adaptions of Dracula.
There you go.
as close as you're going to get, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Have you watched Renfield, Bekka?
Oh my god, I love Renfield so much.
I haven't watched it, but it sounds
It's
like one of
so
the ones for
good.
like a Silly Friday film.
If you love Cocaine Bear, watch Renfield. Oh my god. And
That's a sentence.
yeah, have you not heard of Cocaine Bear?
I have.
Yes, I've heard of it. It doesn't mean it's not a sentence.
It's the most bonkers movie I've ever seen, and then Renfield topped it. And it's got a My Chemical Romance song in the middle of it, which just made my life.
I've never even heard of Renfield, so I'm just looking at it right now.
It's a Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage movie where Nicholas
I
Hoult
see.
is playing Renfield, Dracula's assistant, and it's sort of like he's trying to like stop Dracula kind of thing, and it just gets.
It looks like it would be pretty funny.
It is hilarious. My mum literally was like, "You are laughing so loudly when we were in the cinema watching it. I nearly fell out my chair." I was laughing that hard.
Abby's face is just like confusion.
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
Oh, she froze. Oh, I thought you intensely looked like confusion throughout that whole spiel that Bekka was doing. But no, you just frozen on confusion.
Yeah, I had to turn my VPN on, and so it just stopped everything for like. I was expecting it to stop longer. I was going to start reading again while I waited. I didn't expect it to do it at all, and I was like, "Oh, it's done it now." But no, I have no idea what you were talking about. Sorry, I did as a kid.
I was just talking about how much I love Renfield. It's going to be another one I'm going to bully you into watching.
Am I actually going to enjoy it? I don't want to watch Cocaine Bear, for example.
You're no fun. That's always brilliant.
Oh, I hate film.
I wouldn't recommend you Cocaine Bear, but Renfield does seem like it might be more.
And also, Renfield, it says it's only an hour and a half, and nowadays you never get films that are under 2 hours, so I bet it's really fun and quick and good.
It's a short and sweet Friday nighter, as we put it.
That's what we like. That's what we like. 2 chapters, going strong, going very strong through that chunker. Ooh, I want to read this book. My roommate is a vampire. Just because it's got vampires in it. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I haven't read that one. I think it's based on Agatha Christie. Silver Throat by Siri Peterson.
I have the first one. I need to read it.
Ooh.
It was recommended to me by Veronica Shelf, who is a Swedish booktuber. And yeah, I have it. I need to read it. It looks really good.
Are you reading in Swedish? Or
No. I
I just know you know quite a few languages, so I just always expect you to speak whatever language.
That is the biggest compliment ever. No, this is what I'm going to try and read next in Swedish. It's going to be difficult for me to read. And this is the basicness of the language. Anyone who knows any Swedish knows that this is very basic. I'm going to struggle with it. So no, I'm not reading Owen's Child in Swedish, unfortunately. Just in English.
Languages are hard.
That's still good though. Hello. Okay, Eleanor's matching your current read.
Yes, I have 10 episodes, 10 pages to go.
I did not read, but my head is finally feeling better, so I think I'll be reading next sprint. I did finish an episode of Criminal Minds and ate garlic bread, though. That's good for keeping away vampires, so...
That sounds like a great time. Criminal Minds and garlic bread.
Oh, yeah.
Clean some stuff up, read pages for uni, read pages from the Devil's Prophet. Now made 2 assignments for a different subject. You've been really productive, like super productive. Reading The Year of Witching by Alexis Henderson. Anybody read that one? No. I've heard about it. I haven't read it.
Yeah.
Oh, all the classics, chat. Loving lots of classics. Read classics in school and never since. I think that's a mood for a lot of people. I love books set in those periods. I just really struggle with books written in those times. Something about the language doesn't suit you. That's valid.
Taking a lot more time to get to the point versus modern writing style. Like, you'll be reading something and you'll read like 10 pages and you're like, if this was written today, this would be done in 1 page. So it's very different. You have to kind of get into the style of it. And it's different across the different languages as well.
And I think there's different places for different people to start if you want to try classics. Like if you're a romance reader, read some Jane Austen. But if you're like a horror reader, maybe try one of the short horror ones like H.G. Wells or Frankenstein. And there's also all the modern classics, which Caz mentioned earlier, which shouldn't be discounted because they're easier to read for the most part. And like
Outsiders, that's sort of one I've read. That's a modern classic, isn't it?
Outsiders is a good one.
Yeah.
Especially for found family vibes. Made it to 29% mark of Fledgling by Octavia Butler. I will be very curious to know what you think about this one because it's a vampire one, but the vampire is like frozen in a child's body, and I know she has like relationships with adults, but she's a woman and a black vampire, so it feels like it's doing something slightly different than I often see, and it's Octavia Butler, so like in Octavia Butler I trust. But I recently read a Black Vampires book literally on October 1st, and it wasn't good, so I'm just kind of scared. It was also modern classic. The Dracula adaptations I've seen have been meh at the best. The book is so much better. Which ones have you guys seen? I haven't seen any.
I saw the BBC one that was done by Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss, and I really enjoyed that one.
Is anyone surprised?
All right, I'm a BBC Sherlock nerd. Leave me alone. I've also watched the. We counting Van Helsing here? The Hugh Jackman
in my head, I was thinking Van Helsing as well.
Yeah, like Hugh Jackman Van Helsing. That was the first one I could think of. And I guess you could say Underworld, but Dracula isn't actually in there. That's just more like old vampires. But I really love Underworld.
Underworld is great.
Such a formative series. I was watching that far too young, but it explains too much my personality now that I've watched all of them obsessively.
Well, I never saw any of the adaptations before. I just knew it from like pop culture. Because I don't watch things. So I just knew it from like pop culture side of things, and I was very surprised at the direction the content of the actual book went in a good way. And like I wasn't expecting just how feminist some of it was. Like I think I messaged Olivia at the time, like, oh my god, like how is this so like feminist? It's written in like the 1800s, and I'm like, ah. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by it.
That's what surprised me when I read it as well. That really shocked me. Wait, did you have more Dracula watching Rex, Caz? Or did you watch the same ones?
I think the same ones. And then also I feel sort of the same as Abby, where it's like the pop culture thing. Like, have I seen more films? Or is it just because it's so prevalent in the world that I just know stuff about it? I don't know.
I feel like Frankenstein is also one that the pop culture idea of it is very different to the actual classic idea of it.
I saw that, I think everyone's seen like that article that something like the Daily Mail, if you know English news, put an article out being like, woke Olivia's face.
I know exactly what you're
Woke
talking about.
snowflakes think that Frankenstein isn't the monster. It's like, have you read the book?
That you would
Literally
know.
not the monster. It's not a woke snowflake, it's someone who can read.
Exactly. We want to ban the books, remember?
But then no one would read their waste of space newspaper.
True. Also, the answer to this question is yes. I did just check, even though I should know, because I contribute to it.
Maybe that is also true. Who knows?
That's how we recommend films around here. Renfield is good. A memory called Empire.
It's crazy because I've literally never heard of Renfield until you mentioned it.
I've never heard of it before either. But that
I've
means
never heard
nothing
or
for me.
seen anything about this film.
If you need movie recommendations, I'm your girl because I spend too much time at the cinema.
She keeps trying to make me watch things and then keeps getting disappointed when I don't watch them.
Oh dear.
I got you to watch Good Omens. It counts.
I was gonna watch that anyway.
Yeah, but I tried the movie, didn't like it, unfortunately.
Chris literally has 2 Terry Pratchett tattoos. We were gonna watch Good Omens.
Yeah, but
I
still.
did not have a choice in this matter.
Yeah, but I made you get there quicker.
That's fair.
I have not seen What We Do in the Shadows.
Neither have I, but I know about it. I know there's a TV show version and a film version. I want to watch it eventually.
I prefer Taika in Our Flag Means Death.
Yes, which is soon. Season 2 soon.
Thursday!
VPN season 2.
Yeah.
I have seen What We Do in the Shadows, which weirdly I watched in church, and it was fine.
Was it the film or the TV?
Sorry?
Was it the film or TV show? Because there's 2 different versions of it.
It was the film. I was really confused because it was like a church social night, but I arrived late, and then we were watching these vampires do really strange things, and I was like, I don't understand how this relates, but okay. And yeah, it was the time. Oh, please do get some rest and enjoy the Thursday Murder Club while you're at it. Oh, we were just talking about classics. Hopefully Great Expectations is a good one. I feel like I haven't read Dickens in a while.
It's huge. I've been reading it.
I've heard, I mean, I liked A Christmas Carol, but that's really short, so...
It's one of the only things that Dickens wasn't writing, like, specific. You know how he was paid by the word?
Yeah.
A Christmas Carol wasn't written for that. He just wrote it for fun. Like, it was just, like, he was doing well enough. He didn't need the money. He just wrote it for fun. And so it, in my opinion, like, actually shows his true, genuine writing style, whereas all of his books are fleshed out with extra words to get the extra money.
Speaking of that, have any of you seen The Man Who Invented Christmas? Because that is about Dickens writing A Christmas Carol.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of this.
Yeah,
we watch it every Christmas. It's a really, really good movie. It stars Dan Stevens, and a lot of like very classic British actors are all in it. And it's a really good story, and it sort of delves into like Dickens' past and like his family dynamics and why he wrote A Christmas Carol and where he got all the ideas from. It's a really good, like, hour and a half long movie as well. So if you get time this Christmas, definitely give it a watch.
I also just remembered I have read Bleak House, which was really, really long, and it was a bit evil of the professor to set that as uni reading because it's over 1,000 pages, and we had 2 weeks. But
rude.
That's just cruelty.
It was very cool. He did that twice. He set 2 over 1,000 pages books, and he was like, "I'll be nice, and you get 2 weeks to read it instead of 1." And I was like, "That's not nice." Like.
And here, I thought my professor was an asshole for taking away our reading week.
Why would you do that?
Oh, I never had reading weeks.
Oh, his excuse was, "Oh, you should be reading all the time anyway." And the foreign exchange students went, "Up yours, we're off," and went back home again for the week.
I would do it. I mean, it's nice we can read all the time and still take our reading days as well.
My lecturer made us come back a week early from Christmas holiday. Not even not even like the reading week, which I never got in either of my degrees. But yeah, we had to come back a week early from the Christmas holidays, and it was the Tuesday. I had my heart operation on Monday, and the lecture was on Tuesday, and the next week I had to get a taxi in because I couldn't walk that far to get in. And he proper like reamed me out, like, "Why weren't you in last Tuesday? I thought you were better than that." And I just looked at him like, "You saw me get out of an Uber. I had a heart operation. The day I was out, dude. I was like drugged to hell." He was like, "Oh," and backpedaled massively.
People need to be
Reading
more
week
understanding.
Reading week is something that is typical in British universities, where kind of, I don't know if other countries have half terms. So like in the US, I'll go with the US because most people know that they have semesters. In the UK, in the middle of our semesters, we'll have like a week off. Reading week is similar. It's literally just a week off where the intent is where you're supposed to be reading, researching. If you do something, you know, in the arts, in literature, then you're meant to be reading the books. On the science side of things, you're meant to be researching, doing papers. In reality, it's just a week off. Is what most people use it for.
Yep. Maybe try classics again. A levels ruined it. Take your time. There's loads of other books other than classics. So, yeah.
Did the same for me as well. And my Michael Sheen obsession. That's where that came from.
Castlevania. I've seen this on Netflix, right?
I keep on meaning to watch that show. It looks really good.
It does look good. Frankenstein lovers. Yay. Has anybody read Good Omens?
5 times.
No.
Only once.
I haven't watched it yet. I want to read it first.
I watched season 1, but it's that kind of, it's too random for me. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Good Omens, it's too random for me.
Did you finish season 1?
I did because there's David Tennant.
Season 2, I feel, is a lot less random than season 1. I mean, season 2 written specifically for TV by Neil Gaiman, who is good at writing for TV. So it just takes the 2 characters that we know and just kind of runs them in a standard TV. So if you were interested, I'd recommend trying.
Yeah, because season 2 is getting them to the point to start series 3, and series 3 is the adaptation of the book that Terry and Neil were going to write but never did, which was the sequel to Good Omens.
They were just going to time jump originally. Equal, but that doesn't work as well for TV, and means that they can shove another series in there where Neil Gaiman can do essentially what he wants whilst being respectful to what he knows Pratchett would have done. And it worked out very well. Although I do still hate an episode, and I pretend like the last 20 minutes didn't happen.
Yep, same. Yes. I don't know if you saw my reaction on TikTok as soon as I finished it, but I was like, Neil Gaiman, I'm in your walls. What did you do?
I just looked at Chris and was like, turn the telly off. Just turn it off.
We were going, no! Right at the TV, and our windows were open, so God knows what the neighbours thought was going on.
I love how this is a pitch to get Olivia to watch season 2.
Yes.
Let's continue. I'm so bad at watching. I watch a lot of films. I'm really bad at watching TV series, actually. That's my fault. It's too much commitment. I don't do series even. Book series, so.
I put loads of stuff on my watch list and then never watch it.
I will book days off to watch specific new seasons of things.
Oh yeah, if it's something I watch, then I will just blast it all out straight away.
Like Good Omens, Sandman, The Umbrella Academy, anything like that. I'm just like, mother, book the day off. We're watching this now. She gets no choice in the matter.
I won't even book the day off to watch Doctor Who. And that's like...
no, put it this way. While we're in Newcastle, right, for Hannah's meetup, I'm literally like, I know Doctor Who's going to be airing at that point, so I may disappear.
I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
I will be really upset if it ends up on that weekend. My friend,
It's 3 episodes, so it's probably going to be over 3 weekends. Which
3
means
weekends.
but the first weekend, my friend is hosting a Doctor Who party, and if I do not get to attend a Doctor Who party, I will be really sad.
See, unlike
finally
you two,
gathered enough.
I'm kind of hoping that it falls on the weekend that we're there, because I don't have a TV license. So if I'm there, I'm at my parents' place and I can watch it.
See, I can't be with anyone watching this because I will just be sobbing. And I know my reaction will be a mixture of crying and fangirling, so I just have to be alone to watch the episode.
If it's when I'm up, I'm probably going to speak to like my old friends and get them both around, and we're going to sit there and just sing the theme tune and be massive nerds about it.
Put it this way, for the 50th, all of my friends were out at a sleepover, and I went, no, David Tennant's back, I'm off. And I literally didn't go. I was like, I'm going home, I'm watching a Doctor Who, and they were like, you nerd. And I was like, yes. Problem? I'm off.
We just went and sat together. You need to get a group of friends that watches Doctor Who.
I've been trying to get my best friend to watch Doctor Who for the last 15 years. It hasn't worked yet.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. But
I know, but she likes my recommendations. She just hasn't watched it yet, and I'm like, I will duct tape you to a chair and make you watch it.
Just like, make her watch make her watch just Blink. Just make her watch Blink.
She knows
That's
about the Weeping Angels because I've spoken about them enough, to be fair.
It's a contained little thing. It's just 2 episodes. Just watch that. It contains everything that you kind of need. She'll have the general rest of it from pop culture.
Yeah,
you don't need it anyway. Just watch Blink. 2 episodes.
It's getting her to do that, though. It's a problem.
we'll get there, hopefully.
Yeah.
A-levels are 16 to 18 years, like whatever study you do, 16 to 18.
We used to have O-levels and A-levels. So it used to be ordinary levels and advanced levels. Now the ordinary levels, so my parents have ordinary levels. The same thing is now called the General Certificate of Secondary, but advanced levels kept their names. So yeah, it's just what you do past 16, which used to be when you could choose to leave school. I could have left school. Huh?
I didn't know that's what they were called.
Yeah. Perks of having old parents ask a million questions of. But yeah, so I could have left school at 16. I think the year after me that became illegal.
Yeah.
And now they have to stay until 18. Which I guess in theory is a good idea.
Lots of fans of Good Omens. Use to force yourself to finish. Now, I've heard that the rule of 3 episodes is a good one to use for trying out a TV series. Oh no! I'm sorry.
It's going on Disney Plus.
Yeah, like, are you able to get like a streaming VPN if it isn't on your like country version of it? But yeah, Disney Plus, they now own the streaming rights other than BBC for Doctor Who, so it might be worth a check.
Ideas. Barely breathe and then sit in a dark room to process. Valid. That's fair.
Which part specifically traumatized you?
It happens. Yes, this does look like it'll be a new possible entry point. I'm going to take it as my re-entry because I admit I quitted during Capaldi because I was just very unhappy with how the episodes were going. And then I jumped back in for Jodie Whittaker. And then I was like, no, it's actually still bad. And then
I'm so sad. Jodie Whittaker is such a good actress, and she did everything she could with what she was giving. The writing was atrocious.
Yeah, I think it was the writing.
And like, how dare they do that with first non-male, like non-white male doctor? How dare they not get the best writing that they could when it was someone who was already gonna she could have been perfect. The show could have been perfect, and she was gonna get hate for being female.
Did anyone see her video that she did at the beginning of the pandemic that she filmed in her wardrobe as the Doctor reassuring kids, because she ad-libbed it and she was the Doctor. That was the Doctor. I never saw it in the actual TV show, and I was like, someone get her in to write the script now, because she knows what she's doing. It was ridiculous. She could have flown if she'd had Dean right.
I mean, literally, like, David Tennant worked with her on Broadchurch, I think, and was buzzing when she got announced, and then, absolutely ruined
Put
it.
it this way. I got to the Timeless Child, screamed so loudly I had to leave the room. I was like, no, I'm out. I'm done. I am done.
Me and the twins look at each other like...
Put it this way, I found it more interesting to look at the hate comments on Twitter, because people were pointing out exactly what classic episodes were inspired by her episodes. Right. And it was just like, I was sitting there going, right, so it's that episode, that episode, that episode, and that episode.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. I gave up.
Poor writing.
I also agree with this, actually, because I've since gone back and, well, I actually quit after I'd watched most of Capaldi's episodes, which I didn't realise, but I've gone back and watched the ones that I missed, and he does have some really good episodes.
My favourite is when he punches the racist guy. So the guy being racist, like the companion is like, oh, they're going to be awful to me because she's black. And he's like, they'll be fine. And then he starts being a dick and he says something about it, and then he's racist, and the Doctor just punches him, lights out. And I'm like, perfect episode.
I'm not going to lie, I've only seen Capaldi's series once, but I'm going to be going on to it after we finish David's, because we're just getting to the Sanctum pit, which is the Devil episode of Rose. We're just there, and we had to pause it so we could rewatch Our Flag Meets Death. But then we're going to go on to the
Thin Ice, that is the one that I was thinking of, with the punching of the racist guy.
Last comment before we jump into another sprint, just because I'm keeping an eye on time that we run for. We're going to read until 9 p.m, so that's just like dead on the hour if you're in a different time zone. But the episode is The Cursed Child. That was the one that scarred them so much and gave them a huge fear of gas masks, which... So it's a very scary episode. There were 4 of our sisters sleeping in one bed together after we watched the episode as kids.
I used to stare at my ex-boyfriend, like when I was a 17-year-old, and just go, "Are you my mummy?" And he'd be like, "No, no," and run away. It was great.
It's funny because I don't know.
I wonder why you broke up.
I watched Christopher Eccleston, and I watched Matt Smith, and then I watched a little tiny bit of Tennant, and that's pretty much it.
The tiny bit of
Eccleston is my favourite.
But I did Eccleston, and then Tennant was so different to Eccleston that I just didn't watch it. Even though I've seen bits and bobs of him and he's really good at it, but because I didn't watch it at the time, I just never went back to watch it. And then I watched Matt Smith, and then I've not watched anything since.
Tennant, always and forever my Doctor.
Did you
As
like
most
it?
people would say. Huh?
Did you like what you watched, or are you feeling okay about it?
Oh no, I really enjoyed it. But again, like Abby said, also I don't have a TV license, so I don't watch BBC anyway.
Yeah. I don't have a TV license, which is why I also want to go to my friend's Doctor Who party to watch the thing. Okay, shall we hop into it?
I'm like, I don't have a TV license, but so I can't watch BBC, but I will just go on my VPN and watch stuff from America. That's loud.
Shall we hop into the next reading sprint and read until on the hour?
Yes.
Okay, see you in a bit. the end of our next reading sprint.
Hello.
How did that sprint go for everyone? How was the reading? Caz, do you want to kick us off with an update on how that went?
Yep. So I finished this. Obviously, I only had a few pages left, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Really good. I feel like it's got me out of my slump a bit, which is always a bonus.
Nice.
And then I've read the first chapter of The Dark Lady, 25 pages in, yeah. And it's funny because we're talking about classics and stuff. Obviously, this is not a classic, but it is set in like the 1800s at some point, I think. And it has like old school slang and stuff in here.
I think it's inspired by Shakespeare's
Elizabethan street slang, yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Lady figure in his sonnets. But, I didn't read that one. That sounds interesting. How did it go for you, Bekka?
I read another about had a biscuit snack, so did pretty well.
Nice. And you, Abi?
I read the rest of the section that I'm reading today of Our Share of Night. So at some point, Eleanor, I will message you. I don't know when, but I will. And then I also have almost read my section of Les. This is a long final chapter, but I've got like 4 pages left of this section of Les for today. I am getting so close. Me and Olivia were originally buddy reading it, but life was not wanting to join in with that plan. But yes, I'm so close to the end.
You're almost there. Very big feat.
I've made lots of notes, so I am excited for when one day in the future you do read it, because I'll be able to tell you my reactions in real time. My notes are not. I'm sat here reading. I didn't do English literature. My notes are not like, oh, this is representative of this. Like half of my notes are like, bitch, what? So I'll be able to tell you what I was thinking at the time.
That's how notes should be, isn't it? That's
exactly.
how they should be.
More personal then, makes more sense.
Yeah.
I read up to a third of the way through this. I've got about 200 pages left, and it's really good. I'm having a good time. I think it's doing a very good job with like the suspense and the pacing for it being a bit of a slower than usual slasher read. Let's see how other people are doing. The daughter of Dr. Moreau. I'm sure Hannah is happy to hear this because she loves that author. So Moreno Garcia. Caught up on sorting stuff, enjoying the nostalgia, hopefully. Hopefully good. Dinner, 12 more pages. You are not silly for missing the sprints. The sprints are still going on. We've still got one more reading sprint to go after this one, so feel free to join us. Let us know what you're reading. Get 8% of your book. Nice. What are you reading? Hannah, again, another Hannah. What are you reading? I think you joined us a bit later. Lots of echo.
There's a little bit of echo, yeah.
Yeah. Eleanor's almost there. I don't know what Hannah's referring to here. Is surprised you haven't finished it yet. It's such a good, quick read. Oh, is it Les Mis?
I don't know which of the two it is, but she's asking for a slap is what she's doing.
Because Count of Monte Cristo is such a quick read.
Look, for a classic, the size that it is, it was quick.
I think the words you were missing were in pacing.
No. Les Mis compared to War and Peace. It's got
Oh, yeah.
the Count of Monte Cristo, and we read it faster than War and Peace. Because we read faster. For the size that it is, we read it very quickly. And yeah, they know that that's what I meant, but they just enjoy bullying me.
That's okay. Love a good pile on.
This makes me feel better. Librarians don't write in books. That's fair. Usually I don't. Like I just for some reason when we started Les Mis, just couldn't not. I didn't do it for War and Peace. I didn't do it for Count of Monte Cristo, which I loved. But for some reason in Les Mis, I think I told you at the time, I was like, I can't not. I just have to write it. I need to write down what I'm thinking. Don't know why.
Do either of you two annotate? I don't annotate unless it's poetry. Do either of you two annotate?
I don't annotate, but sometimes I highlight stuff. Mostly in like non-fiction though.
That makes sense.
That's what I want to remember.
I don't write in books at all. My handwriting is too bad for it.
French.
That's a good note. It's solid. I do hope there was French language being used with the note French. But
I could totally see it just being like a croissant or a baguette or something, and she's just put French.
endless potentials. 15% getting through. We've got to get to the end of chapter 9 of Dr. Moreau by Sunday. Oh yes, Hannah is doing a discussion for this book on her channel. The live show is scheduled in and set, so you can like subscribe to it and set your reminders if you want to read this for Gothtober. It fits a lot of prompts. It's a retelling of a H.G. Wells classic. Yes, plugging it for Hannah. 16-year-old me notes on a short story that's more comprehensive than my current study notes. Sometimes simple is better. Sometimes simple is better. Yay! Enjoy Bunny. Enjoy Bunny.
I used it for a quick read prompt. Quick.
Abby, I have to say, I'm with Hannah and
You stop.
I read the book too, and I would never put it for like say it was quick. It was fast paced.
Literally, if you go back and watch the live stream, I say that the reason I'm mentioning it is because of, despite the fact that it makes this look like a reasonably sized book, you can get through it quite quickly. But like context was required.
How many times have you rewatched that live stream so you know exactly what you said to defend yourself?
Surprisingly, zero. I should go back and rewatch that so I can quote myself.
What's our ideal page length for a book? Like my happy place is 300 to 350 pages.
I was going to say 350.
About 350, yeah.
I think it also depends what it is though. Like fantasy, if it's really engrossing, I want more because I want more of the world and more of the building stuff. But like normally, yeah.
But then for me, with fantasy, I'm usually reading a series. So
yeah, but I want big books in the
still
series
fine.
as well.
For me, it's fine if it's like still just 350 because then there's none.
True.
But yeah,
if there's a romance, I don't know if you guys are romance readers, but if it's a romance, I would like 200 to 300 max, please. It doesn't.
Yeah, because sometimes it feels like it's dragging out.
The Chill by Scott Carson. I haven't heard of this one. Picked it up on Kindle Unlimited as a whim. Is described as a horror thriller about a village flooded to make a reservoir, and it fits the Insta challenge. We love the Instagram.
Hannah, is it set in Wales? Because that happened in Wales. There was, I don't remember the name of the village, and I would butcher the Welsh pronunciation regardless. But there was a village in Wales that was one of the only places that, well, at the time, like that still just spoke Welsh as their primary language in the village. And Liverpool wanted a reservoir to secure their water supply, so they evicted everyone from that village, flooded it, and Liverpool has still to this day never had to dip into that reservoir. So that village, that culture, everything gone, just in case England needed some more water.
Wow. I don't know.
If that doesn't sum up the English, I don't know what will.
Very
Sounds
true.
like that. I'm really happy I'm only half English.
I feel like Lizzie has not answered this question. Oh yeah, they have. I meant by French as in it was a phrase in French didn't bother translating, but just popped a note to remind myself.
But why did you need to know that? Surely you can see it's in French. Like, I was reading Chilling Effect, and like for a time at the very beginning of phrases in Spanish in which I don't speak. I don't really do Romance languages too much. And so for a time I was like fully like using transparent sticky notes to translate all of it. I gave up because I couldn't be asked. But like, I didn't just write Spanish.
It doesn't really help, does it?
We can't note shame. We can't note shame. To be fair, though, I don't actually look up words if I don't know what they mean. I just
Oh, I do. I have the translate on my phone, so I just type it in there so I know what's going on fully.
That's what I was doing with Chilling Effect, but it's so interspersed that instead I just did what I do with fantasy things, where they say the name of something, and I don't read what the name is. I just go flibbidibidib. I'm like, oh, wonderful.
Yeah, in your brain, you're like,
yeah. I'm gonna go back through it at some point when I have the time. Like, if we're just like watching, Chris, my other half, watches the NFL, and they're long games, American football. Yeah, no. They're long. Maybe I'll just sit and do translations then. But at the time, I was like, no, I won't read this if I need to translate it. So I'm just gonna flibbidibidib.
I did that
Retroactively
before with
translate.
Sanderson books.
They do add like a lot of like, it's usually like insults or little fun like quips and stuff. So I definitely want to go back and translate them.
Yeah.
It just wasn't working for me when I was in a reading slump. I did not need to also have to translate a language I do not understand. Like,
but I do prefer it when books just leave it like that and they don't do like a sentence in Spanish, for example, and then afterwards say it in English as well. I'm like, no, leave it in Spanish. I'll do the work if I want to, and if I don't, then that's on me.
Would it be a better idea to have it maybe as like a footnote in the translation, so you can look at it if you want to, and then go back? Because
I think that is a great idea. I have heard from a lot of authors that they're like, this is just like unapologetically me, and I don't want to have to explain it. And also,
I feel like it's. Oh, sorry, go on.
Go.
I was just going to say, with the fact that like English is the dominant language mostly globally, the fact that they're already, most of them, not even it's not being translated like this one is by someone else. Like, they are writing in their second language, and they're putting in their native language into it, and it's like, why should yet again the English language yes, the book is in English, but it's culturally important to the story oftentimes when it's not translated. Like, the character is Latina, I think. The author is. And so it's like, it's part of her culture. And in real life, if I met her on this spaceship, she wouldn't translate it.
Exactly.
So it, like, I think that's why a lot of authors choose not to. If it's like a fantasy language, and especially one that isn't inspired by a culture that is in the real world, then I'm like, translate it. I don't want to have to go and look to the back. Like, give me a footnote. Yeah. But if it is a real language, then it's like, it's kind of on us.
I can't remember which book it was. It might have even been like Cemetery Boys or something like that. It was definitely like a YA sort of romance thing. But it was really cute because it was like one of the characters, not the main character, but the love interest, was speaking to his mum in Spanish, but the main character didn't know what he was saying. So I was translating it. It was just really cute. He was like talking about how much he liked the other guy, but he didn't know. It's like, you don't need that translated like at the bottom of the page. If you put the work in, you see what it is, and it's just really sweet.
It's true.
Yeah, I think the only reason I was having to directly translate these ones is because I have this much Italian knowledge. So Spanish is like nothing. If it's Germanic, I could figure it out. Like German, Swedish, Norwegian a bit. Like, in that kind of region, I can figure out what they mean. But when it is like a Romance language, it's complete gibberish to me.
It's true. Spanish, Dutch, then it kind of makes sense, but then the other kind of I don't understand. But I do think what Pixie's saying here is that sometimes a word just comes up enough and you like pretty much get its feeling, or you infer it from how people respond.
Isn't that how half of us learn most of our language anyway? Like, the amount of words that I've never heard anyone speak, and like, if you ask me to define a word, I can't do it. I can give you a context for the word. I cannot define it. Ever, because I learned like 90% of my vocabulary through sitting silently and reading.
This is also me. word from the context. I'm now going backwards through the chat, which doesn't make any sense. Love annotating, but do it for certain bits of various level of seriousness. I feel like my annotating on poetry looks really serious because I do like the English literature breakdown. But then if you look closely, some of the words are like, oof, exquisite. And that's just it. Only annotate if you have to read the book for uni. It's not non-fiction.
Hi.
340, 440 is the sweet spot. And I feel like 440 is very specific. Why are you choosing 40s over 50s, Hannah? This is what I want to know. I'll happily read 20,000 pages broken up into many books. That has been showcased by you reading Red Rising and that series.
Like, if you gave me 10 small books or one big book, I will make my way through the 10 smaller books a million times faster, even if like the chapter breakup is the same, even if it's just like a bind up versus the standalone books, I will get through the standalone separate books so much faster, and I don't know why.
Because it feels easier to manage, probably.
Probably got shorter chapters as well. I think shorter chapters, even if the book's longer, it takes less time to read.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
400-page romance, but it was a sequel. That's valid, because then the only people who opt into it are people who obviously want more of whoever the romance book is around. But there was still too much inner monologuing. I think this is about the lake that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Capels. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. According to Storygraph, I mostly read books 300 to 499 pages. 69% of the books. Perfection. Perfection. Annotating is giving people flashbacks to school, which is why we don't want to do that. Is the romance that you read that featured someone learning Spanish a lot called You Had Me at Hola? Because this was giving this kind of vibe where they learn the Spanish word from someone who speaks Spanish, and then you understand what they were trying to say. Oh, cute.
Yeah.
In the Mediator series, the love interest calls the main character Querida, and the whole time she's like, I bet it's an insult. I actually remember this. I'm reading it as a teenager.
Is it an insult?
No, it means like my love, or like my darling, or like.
Oh, cute. But yeah, like in that, I would never get context. Like that's the sort of thing you have to look up to get the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, cat.
Joining the reading sprints. I can read Swedish because I grew up reading in Swedish and had a Swedish TV, but you have to be aware of the fact that some words may have a totally different meaning in Norwegian. Interesting. I did not know that. I guess there's always false friends in certain languages that sound similar to another one, but then actually it means something completely different.
Me and Chris were doing that with Danish and Swedish because we went to Stockholm and Copenhagen on holiday. So I learned the Swedish and he learned the Danish. And we would tell each other like false friends between the two, which was great fun because my friend in Sweden, her fiance is Danish. So we were just messaging them all together, being like, what's wrong with these languages? And they were having a great time.
Why are these languages this way? I learned like a little bit of Chinese Mandarin when I was going to China. This was many, many years ago. And I just remember learning the word for noodles because obviously I was going to ask that a lot. And she was like, just be careful how you say it tonally because it can either mean noodles or horse, depending on the candor of your voice. And I was like, so it's not an easy language to learn then, is it?
I mean, I was going to say, like, before you said what else it could mean, I was like, oh, Chinese is really like a contextual language. So theoretically, if it was noodles or telephone, they know what you're asking for. But horse is a bit too close to the noodles in terms of you could eat it, depending on where you are in the world.
I think there's also another third word it could mean, but it was not one that was close to eating. I feel like it was an object, so I just didn't remember it. And I was just like, I just need to say this and not that. But I actually never used the word. And I asked for rice a lot and spoons because I didn't know how to use chopsticks when I was that young. It does. We love a completed book. Caz is probably riding the high of completed book.
Yeah. And a good book as well.
I think because 340 is about 75k words, I think it averaged out that way. 340 makes sense. That's fair. This, like, when I see the word count, I think of like fan fiction over
Yeah,
novels.
that's what I do.
Yeah, word count doesn't mean anything to me when I'm reading a book. I don't understand what it means. What size is that? Surely it depends on how big the type is.
True. True.
But then if you think about it, there is like a standard type. Like if you open a book without having looked in it before and it's not the standard type, you do go, oh, that's a bit big, or oh, that's a bit small. So I guess just in the standard type.
Fair. This was the sequel to What If It's Us? Here's to Us, which is what it's called. I like it, but would never recommend because I don't want people to suffer through both books. No, I like them. I read the first
What If It's Us, but not the sequel yet.
Yeah, I read the first one. What bothered me about that one, though, is that you can so clearly, before they said it, it was so clear which chapters Becky Albertalli wrote and which ones Adam Silvera wrote. Like, their styles didn't fuse, even though they're different points of view, but that's why I struggled with it, like, not actually the story that much. This is so funny. In Norwegian, it means miracle child, but in Swedish, it means monster child.
Maybe it's both the same.
And then in German, it doesn't mean anything, but that's, I can't pronounce Swedish, it's the bane of my friend's life, but like that's like Wunderbarn. In German, it's close to Wunderbarn, which would be like close to Wunderkind, like Wonder Child, which is closer to the Norwegian one.
So strange.
Languages are fun.
Love languages.
Like in Norwegian, thank you is tak, but in Polish it's yes. Tak is yes.
I remember
which was a
the
weird
rolling
one for me because I learned like a tiny bit of Norwegian. I wanted to learn more, but I just find it really hard to learn languages. But like I live somewhere that has a really big Polish community, so like my mum works for loads of Polish people, and he's like, I've heard people say tak, it means yes. I'm like, no.
It means something else. In Swedish, this means funny, but in Danish, it means calm, which, yes, indeed, they are very, very different. Okay, and one more before we do our last reading sprint, and then we'll report back before we close off. I hated the end of What If It's Us so much that I had to read Here's to Us. But the problem with Here's to Us is just know how it's going to end, but it takes 450 pages, so that's fair. I love the twist of a bad ending making you want to read the sequel. Can't relate, but valid. Okay. Let's read until the end. If you've been here with us, thank you for joining us. Have a good night. We're going to do...
I'll message you later.
We're going to do a half-hour sprint to finish with a shorter one, but also to the host, if anybody needs to hop off for any which reason, work, stuff tomorrow, like, feel free to. You don't have to stay. But thanks for joining us. We'll read until 5 minutes to, and then just wrap up with final thoughts on the books. Cool. See you in a bit. And that's the end of our last story. I hope everyone had a good last reading sprint. Pretty much reached halfway through this book, and I think it might be the break to my 3 to 2 star streak. I'm really hoping it sticks to the ending because I really love that. How did it go for everyone else? How did it go for you, Cats?
I had this on me the whole time, so it's really awkward to read. But yeah, I'm 55 pages in now. Getting through it quite well.
Nice, nice. Becca, how did it go for you?
I've got 20 pages left, and it's just been Katniss has just been attacked by Joanna, and it's all sort of coming back to me. I'm just like, ah! And then also, my dinner was delivered to me.
Nice. Nice. If you, I guess you're probably going to finish this after the sprints. Just like finish.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. How did it go for you, Abby?
I finished the section I was reading of Les Mis, which took longer than I was expecting. Like, it took until about 22. So wasn't expecting it to take quite that long, but I was enjoying it and annotating it, so it's fine. And I have just passed the 900. I have less than 100 pages to go now, and then I finished Les Mis. And okay, Dad's texting me about the football. And then I read kind of 3 stories in here. I read one story, and then this chapter that I'm on seems to be a lot of very short stories, as in like a page, maybe a page and a bit, about changelings and various, what was it, fairies and changelings? Yeah. So I read 3 of the short stories there, but they're very small. So but I'm really enjoying this. Like, I know that it's pretty damn niche, but the stories are actually really interesting. So, and they're also really short. So if you're all interested in like British folktales, this is an area of Scotland that my family is from. So that's why I have it, and they're actually really interesting. So I really do recommend this. I'm really enjoying it.
It's always nice to read fairy tales from like different places, and I think sometimes British fairy tales and folklore can be underrated because mentally I always think it must pale in comparison to some of the other folklores and fairy tales, but that's not necessarily true.
I guess it's less new, less novel. Like, even though I haven't heard of all of these before, some of them I've heard of, because there's like a few little bits that my mum, being from this place, would like slip it, like, "Oh, watch yourself," or so and so. I know. I'm so glad I'm enjoying it. But yeah, so like it's not new, because obviously it is just traditional British fairy tales, but it is the traditional ones, like the old-fashioned ones, and there is a lot of depth to them. I think it is just mainly, if you read fairy tales and folklore from like Ethiopia, for most of us that's a lot more novel and like a brand new world to explore, whereas this kind of feels like the background to our lives. We've always had it there. But I'm really, really enjoying it and seeing, because it is very much like colonization of the English of Scotland, like those sorts of fairy tales. So yeah,
some of that history.
Very much enjoying it, and apparently this is like a whole series. These folktales, thehistorypress.co.uk. If you want to have a look and see if there's any from your area. I don't know how far afield they go, but I'm really enjoying this. Very happy.
Nice. Also, what is your cat's name, Caz? I feel like I should know from watching all your videos.
This one is Beast.
This one is Beast. And then what's your other cat called?
So his mum is Mia, and then I have 3 that are all brothers, which is Finky, Ruger, and Monty. And then we have Big as well.
So you have 6 cats? Wait, you have 6 cats?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow.
I did have 7, but my oldest had to get put down last month.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alright. She was 18. She had a good life, so it was sad, but also like not too bad.
She lived a long time.
She did, bless her. This one, I think he's like 10, 11, maybe.
That's nice. You've convinced someone onto
Yes,
history.
Hannah. Yes.
Also, hi, Dom. Hi. Dom is a very good friend. Needs a special shout out. Oh no, you finished a book. Well, that's really good. That's what reading sprints are for. I'm glad you finished a book.
If it was anybody else, you'd be happy.
I know, but I am very happy because I sent 10 books in a box to Hannah like yesterday.
Nice.
So I'm
Hope
quite
they were big ones.
Yeah. More sorting through. Always good. Cleanse everything. Downsizing. I have another 7%. Ooh, I'm glad you're getting to the weird and intriguing parts. It's always the most fun bit. Once you get over the beginning. 45 pages into Bunny. Intrigued. I do want to try something by Mona Howard. I think she has a new release out, which sounds interesting. 25 pages read, 40% of the way through.
40%.
Progress.
That is impressive. Like, you're basically halfway through, and you're not going to stop reading now. We all know that you're going to keep reading this evening. Like, you're going to hit halfway on the 3rd.
Damn. That's amazing. Yes. Hopefully that means it's enjoyable. Abby says it is. Reading the Orkney Folktales version from the same press. Nice.
Really? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I've not looked at it yet, so I don't know where else it does, but I love that it does Orkney. I'm definitely going to be looking more into this.
And then Hannah is talking about your 3 books ahead. You will be -7, okay? So that's good. You'll be -7. I did get some books in the post today. I just don't know if I'm going to keep them because I didn't ask for them, which I don't really love unsolicited book mail that much, but maybe. You do have to finish a book a day every day to hit your Goodreads goal. That's because your Goodreads goal is insane, Hannah.
Isn't it like 300 or something?
I think she's aiming to reach 1,000 books reviewed or logged on her Goodreads, and I think she had 200 to go to get there at the start of the year. So I don't know how deep she is in now. Also, Hannah, correct me if I'm misquoting anything, but I say just take it easy. Like for the rest of the year, if you finish like 10 books, you're fine. You did good. Okay? So no stress. Take it easy. Take it easy. Yes. It is observed. You do like collecting things, but now you have things you don't care about. So you want to sort through all your things and downsize to like 15 or 25% of things you own. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm going to look on my Goodreads page, and I have 992 ratings, so I'm a lot closer.
You'll get there by the end of the year, I think.
Definitely.
You'll definitely be there. I've actually started using Goodreads properly this year. Can't believe it. And now I'm like 200, just under 200 away, but I'm not going to read 200 books in 3 weeks. So that's all good. I'm almost at my record of books I've read in a year ever. I think I have to read like 6 more books. And then I've broken my reading record.
The challenge is definitely pushing you there.
It is. It has.
Beat Hannah.
Now I have your undying supporter, Shelly, all those goals. Listen, I'm just going to say here now in this moment that nobody loses in our challenge because our TBRs will both have shrunk. But I will not admit defeat yet. There's time. I picked up whilst in Orkney. I know there's one on Scottish folktales in general as well. We'll be amazed if there isn't one for Shetland too.
Yeah, I imagine there must be one for Shetland. And I think there's ones for England and stuff. Why did I pull a face? I'm definitely only half English, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's ones for... Yeah, it's Great Britain and Ireland. So there's some Irish ones as well as Britain.
Good. Writing a review a day this month. books. Figured I was behind on logging 30 books. It can be hard to keep logging all the books, especially if you write a review for each and every single one. It can be tricky.
I did that. Last year, I reviewed every book I read on Goodreads. And this year, I've reviewed about 5. I can't be bothered.
It's energy.
I review them just with the star rating. I've given up.
That's fair.
I did like proper reviews for every book I read last year. But I think this year as well, because the past 2 months I've been like really slumpy, and most of the stuff I've read is like 3 stars. I just can't be bothered to write stuff about it. It's like, it's average. Full stop.
See, I do quick reviews on Goodreads, but then I don't fill out my reading spreadsheet. So I get to the end of the month and I just go, I've got like 15 books to add in here. And it's like, why can I do the review but not the spreadsheet? It's right next to it.
I have a bullet journal. It's not this one, I have a separate one, but I have a bullet journal that I log all of my reading stuff in. And I will keep that up to date about once every 5 days. Luckily, I actually put the details in here just to make it even more confusing. But like, I can keep that up to date within a month. But my spreadsheet, I don't think I've done August's yet.
I'm good with my spreadsheet. I keep up to date with my spreadsheet.
The only reason why my spreadsheet is up to date at the end of the month is because I have to, so I can put my stats at the end of my like wrap up videos. It's the only reason.
Hey, if that's a way to make it happen, then that's good.
My reading journal is on my tablet, and it's collecting the digital version of Duck at the moment because I just don't fill it in.
Pixels?
Really good.
Collecting pixels, maybe?
Yeah, it's just collecting pixels at the moment.
It's tricky. I keep up to date with my spreadsheet because my spreadsheet is alarmingly basic compared to many of the spreadsheets I see on BookTube, including yours, Caz. It's like very basic, but my Goodreads reviews are basically my Instagram reviews copy pasted with a few lines here and there, maybe.
I should just do that.
Just copy paste it.
I review every single book I read on my Instagram stories. That's like the one place that is relatively consistent. And I stole the idea from Olivia. So
did I.
Love setting trends.
Whereas I'm terrible at Instagram. I've done like 2 posts this year, I think.
That's okay. That's okay. You responded when I asked you if you wanted to join these sprints. So rated 651. I'm not going to rush to 1,000 though. That's fair. Cool milestone, but yeah, take it one review at a time. I was not aiming for a goal of 1,000. I think it just happens naturally at some point.
Can you see how many you've rated versus how many you've read?
Yeah.
Where?
So on mine, it says 992 ratings, but then if you look in the bookshelves, it says read 1,025.
Because I can only see the red.
Are you on your profile? Are you on the app or are you on just a normal website?
On the website.
If you look under your picture, you know the circle where your picture is? Underneath that it says your rating.
Thank you very much. Stupid alarms. I've done 712.
There you go.
That's good number. Good number.
I've got 970 something marked as red. I just haven't reviewed like 200 books.
Also, I've written 636 reviews.
Lots of reviews. I was going to respond to Alice's comment. I love when people say what their TBR number is at the end of the month or at the end of their haul, but I can't do that because I will film a haul and then I will edit it 3 to 4 months later. So it would all just be irrelevant. But I love it when people do that because I get so nosy about how many books or which books are on people's TBR.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to post the edited video not too long after you finish editing it, then you could have like a bit where you're like, and this is how many books are on my TBR when you're seeing this. And like you could just say it and then edit in the number.
See, people do the thing where they're like, this is editing me, but I literally edit like in my pajamas, in my bed, literally.
Oh, no. I did not mean film yourself. I edit looking like a gremlin. I meant like literally just like while you're filming the like original video and just be like, stop screen, this is how many books I've got, and just put the number in text on the screen.
I see what you mean.
If you wanted, like, I would just do it for me potentially, just so I can keep a track of it. it would like make me see how many I've got. And obviously, you're doing that anyway, in a way. With
I
the
have
challenge
a
that-
page in my journal for that.
Am I the
At
only
the
one
front
who
of it.
doesn't count how long her TBR is because I'm scared of the number?
I am terrified of the number. Every time I check it, I get sad.
Well, the problem
There's
is
too many.
I have a shared library like with my mum on Kindle and in physical format. So I'm like, do I include those ones? Because if that,
No. Kindle books are magic and only exist
Don't
when you are
count.
speaking about Kindle books.
They don't
If you-
count.
if
What
you're
do you
saying
mean
how many-
physical books?
Yeah,
because
if
my-
you're saying how many books you've got on a Kindle TBR, then you count them. Other than that, they don't exist.
They don't exist.
my comic Kindle TBR is horrendous.
It's non-existent.
Yeah.
Unless
In a
you're
lot of
talking
ways.
about your Kindle TBR, it does not exist. And this is how we manage.
I just do this at the end of each month. So I just say like
Oh, I love
how
that.
many my TBR started and ended and how many books I read and
I admire your organization.
That is good.
It looks so neat as well.
How did you do that so neatly?
How is your font so consistent, even though it's like not printed with a stamp?
Yeah, like I
Because
have
I-
like
I had
12
some
different
books when I went
handwritings.
down, and then I accidentally had to scribble it.
Yeah,
Because I
but
realised I'd
still,
read more
like,
than I
I
thought.
have 12 different handwriting styles. Like if someone told me to have to forge a note, I could do it.
I feel like most handwriting is not that neat. In here it's alright. Maybe I put effort in.
I mean, there's a reason why I have to pencil in everything first because I am dyslexic and I managed to spell ideas wrong a while back, so I had to fix it in pen afterwards. Like, it's terrible.
I mean, it's literally a disability. That I feel like that's different.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's a reason why I now actually make everything in Canva and then print it out.
It's fair.
I really like my buzzword-a-thon page.
It's beautiful. Wait, sorry, I need to remove the comments so we can all see this full screen. Wait.
So with the buzzword readathon thing that Kayla over Books and Lala does, so I did it like this.
Lovely.
That's so gorgeous.
Do you want to come and do my planner for me? Please.
I like doing
Yeah,
fun
let
things in my
me
journal.
just take it, please. Take it.
People that like good art in real life though. And here's my book of the month thing. I know a lot of people do like the book bracket thing, but I don't like that. So I just draw the cover of each of my favourite books of the month.
Oh,
What's it like to have art?
amazing. You can literally, you know, your art skills are good when you can show someone and they can see which books it actually is.
What's it like to be talented at art? Please tell me.
Beautiful.
This is like my one place where I have a lot of fun with art because I really like art, but then I just never do anything.
That
So-
right there is why I always tell my other half. He's like, "Oh, you're so artistic," because I do nonsense in this. That right there is why I say I'm not. Look at that. Is
That's my
stunning.
editor one.
How do you even go about drawing that?
Just
Also,
fun.
just to plug, also on Cats and Cameras channel, you can watch.
I do, yeah. I have done like a every quarter flip through.
Be right back. I'm just screwing up my watch later even further.
I rely on stickers.
I do have a lot of stickers, a lot.
I buy children's
Right.
sticker books.
Look, this
and then
is the best I could manage this month. This is the best I could manage. This is good for me.
That is
How?
good.
That is good. No,
Got
no,
a coloured line.
no.
Give me a second. Do I have anything I can show you by this way?
And like,
Where do I even put Canva?
as you can see, I started off doing normal stuff, and then I just paint all the time in it now.
I love
just-
that.
I like painting stuff.
It's
I love
gorgeous.
It makes the pages look nice.
It's absolutely stunning. Olivia trying to get this back on track with books. I'm sorry, we're still in awe.
I don't know. That's not working.
Can't see screen.
And I'll show you one more page. This is, I've not done the actual inside, but this, I like doing escape rooms. So, and then if you open it up, I'm going to write in here I've just got a little post-it note at the moment, because I don't know how many I'm going to do.
I think that's a shame.
That's not working. I just use Canva elements and stickers and hope for the best.
It's fun.
It's so pretty.
Why is it like to have art skills?
I'm gonna put us back on track because I'm aware of the time. It can be hard to keep spreadsheet up to date, but it's great that you do it with wrap-ups. 291 ratings. It's going to pass 300, which is something to celebrate.
Like, I would also like to say that my ratings, at least for me, I'm assuming the others are the same. It's like me retroactively just star rating books from my childhood. Like,
I definitely
it's
done
not
some of
all
them.
like actual reviews.
It happens. It happens. I went back and star rated a couple of my favorites. Just even though I don't use Goodreads realistically, I'm quite a fake Goodreads user. Other than this particular year, it can be fun to go back and fill in the gaps. I need to know the own TBR to scare me into submission when you want to buy books. I don't know if it works, to be honest. I just let you know that.
I just hope I have money left over at the end of the month. That is my general.
That's the win.
Yeah. Unless there's something special going on, like Yow. And then I'm just like, bugger it.
This is fair. Current own TBR 62.
Oh, the
Goodreads
jealousy.
Shop own TBR 90 to 100. These are all very healthy TBR numbers.
Very healthy.
No
Mine's
comment.
at like 170.
Around the 400 mark.
I feel so much better.
Yeah. I have a problem. But
Mine is 127. Oh, 126 because I finished that book earlier.
No comment
Okay.
on mine.
Very quickly, look at the next comment down. Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's Emperor's
that is amazing.
The disco song. I'm very sorry. It's to take my medication. I don't need to take it like exactly on time, but if I turn it off, I won't remember to take it. I'm pretty sure I've got ADHD. So that's why it keeps going off. I'm very sorry, but I do need to take it.
That's fair. Alarms are a good tool. So with that, we're going to end this live show. Thank you for joining me. Before we go, do you have anything you guys want to plug?
If you want to see more of this, you can go and watch my videos on it.
Yes. Go watch our
I
video.
have an Etsy store that sells bookish merch, including this t-shirt that says I'm actually quite tall for a hobbit. So there's stuff like that on there if you want to check that out. There's Halloween stuff at the moment.
Perfect. Abby, do you have anything you want to plug?
I have been doing the Gothtober photo challenge on my Instagram. So if you guys, I'm doing it every day, and it is currently the bane of my existence purely because Instagram hates me. Like, I've taken all the photos already, all of them. It's just trying to schedule them that is the issue. 31. So I'd appreciate it if you just like look. You don't have to like it, just please look at them.
And like them. I'm telling you to like them. The last two things I'm going to quickly plug. One of them is on Hannah's behalf, and that is the BookTube meetups, which we were talking about before. They're happening in Newcastle in November. I think it's something like November 17th, but don't at me on that. And you can meet a whole lot of BookTuber friends. I'll be there. Hannah will be there. There's a panel of BookTubers there. I think some of you guys are there.
18th. That's the
18th.
Saturday.
That's the date. I should know because I'm going. So I wanted to plug that. You can get tickets if you go in any of the links in like Hannah's channel or Waypoint Books. And then I will also plug that if you enjoyed this reading sprint, I have a Patreon which you can subscribe to. It's £1 for the lowest tier, and you get access to monthly sprints because I don't do live shows on my channel unless I'm doing them for readathons or book clubs. But they get monthly sprints as well as behind the scenes and extra tidbits that you can check out. But that is it for the live show. Thank you, Abi, Bekka, and Caz for joining me.
Thank
Very
you.
well.
I came a little bit late before I got here.
No, it's all good. And the next live show is on Saturday on my channel, and it's the craft live show where it's just chill, making crafts and talking spooky stuff. But with that, we shall sign off and see you in another one. Bye, everyone.